Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy show. My name is Hassani. Glad to be with each and every one of you here this morning, wherever you're dialing in from, city, state, country. We want to know who you are so that we can represent you. And thank you for being a part of our community. We hit one corner of the earth to the next, and we're excited about that because so many people resonate with this message because we're here to empower you. If you've been through any type of betrayal, infidelity, setback, challenges in your relationship, if you are in crisis, you've tuned in to the right show. And so we are in a series. Once again, we're talking about why did you do what you do? Why did you cheat? Right? That's the $1 million question. We're trying to understand the why. And when I'm working with couples in one-on-one sessions and I begin to unpack these things comprehensively, it gives language to thoughts that are hard to articulate. It points people in the direction that they weren't necessarily aware that they were going, but yeah, that makes sense. And it's able to give couples a sense of clarity and closure to begin to move forward. Now, here's the reality. If you don't know the why for why you did what you did, it's possible that it can happen again because you haven't properly diagnosed the issue and come up with a solution to resolve that issue. But taking a step back to reflect is critically important in the recovery process. Now, we started off talking about personal factors. So I cheated on you because of me. Then we transitioned, which we're now in, on relational factors. I cheated because of us. Today we're talking about I cheated because of you. This may hit hard, folks, but we're here to deal with it. And so in our conversation today, we're going to be going through a few things that may be hard hitting, but it's a reality that we have to face. Now, once again, I take responsibility for my decision to do what I did. I brought hell, I brought harm, I brought destruction to our relationship, and now I have a desire to restore it. But if I'm being honest, I've got to be able to admit what were contributing factors to cause me to do what I did. Now, once again, we're talking about you and what you did and what you didn't do that contributed to my reason. But if I didn't have my own internal personal factors, then I probably wouldn't have done it. So my personal factors were triggered by you and how you show up. Now, everyone likes to believe that, I'm a great spouse. I'm a wonderful husband. I'm a wonderful wife. I didn't do anything to contribute to the problem. And that's just not being honest. It's just not being true. Some of us are still trying to figure this thing out through trial and error, what it means to be a good spouse. And so the fact of the matter is we're not always showing up the way that we need to show up. And so I'm going to go in a particular journey. I'm going to take you on a journey that I want you to be open and honest about so that you can begin to assess yourself to see where you may have fallen short that created a vulnerability for your spouse to do what he or she did. So let's dive into it. We were talking about the need to have physical and emotional needs met in a relationship. And we know that we haven't always been on our A game when it comes to meeting physical needs, nor emotional needs. But guess what? There's something called spiritual needs. We all have a need to connect with our Creator. And oftentimes when we got married and brought God into the wedding ceremony. He was a witness along with other people. We invited him into the marriage, but we didn't invite him into the home. And so guess what? The spiritual foundation, the spiritual connection, the spiritual alignment that I was looking to have with you, I did not get because we were in two different spiritual places. And what I needed from a partner, I felt like I was deficient in. And even though we're talking about spirituality, the lack of it drew me away and caused me to do unspiritual things. But if there were conversations and expectations already established in terms of how we need to be showing up in this relationship, and for some, this God connection is critically important. Without it, it can feel empty, it can feel dry, it could feel dead. Without it, it causes a person to starve and to hunger and to crave and to thirst for something that they are not personally receiving. And so spiritual intimacy, critically important. It is foundational for a healthy relationship. Let's go to the next. Now, this is big. And we have to be honest, because the loss of physical attraction is a real thing. Most likely, when you entered into a relationship with your partner, it was based upon two things: physical attraction and emotional desirability. But what happens over the course of time, we get comfortable. We no longer show up as our best selves. Our belief is that, well, I got you now. We're in a relationship now. Why should I have to do all that? Why is all that required? See, when you were separate, living in two different homes, and you were dating and courting and even engaged to each other, you would dress up, look good, smell good, pick your partner up from their home, go out together, drop them off, go back home. And so you were in anticipation of seeing your boo, of spending time with your boo. And of course, you have to show up as your best self. Now, what happens is we get married, right? And so that level of intentionality is no longer there, because guess what? You woke up with me in the bed before I put on my makeup, before I put on my perfume and cologne, before I got all dressed up. And why I got to do that for you? Isn't our love, doesn't it mean more than that? But yet and still, you won't dress up for your spouse. You won't look good for your spouse, but you will dress up, look good, smell good when you leave the door and go outside to work with friends in this world, but you show up looking bummy and raggedy to your spouse every single day. So why is it that you put on for everyone else, but you don't put on for me? And so what drew me in, what caught my eye, what caught my attention, what built up my desire, you are no longer doing. Now, we've talked about this. We've mentioned this. And you said you would do better, but you just don't seem to value how important this issue is for me. See, physical attraction draws people together. And what you did to get your spouse, you have to do to maintain your spouse. Now, things happen, folks. People go through seasons. People go through changes. People get sick and they deal with ailments. People, women get pregnant and they have children. So things change, and we're not expecting you to be who you were 25 years ago, but we're expecting you to be the very best version of yourself. And taking care of your physical appearance and taking care of your grooming and doing your best to be your best and still attempting to catch your spouse's eye is a good thing. Is a good thing. Because when I have to go out in these streets and I see nothing but beauty all around me, nothing but handsome, well put together men all around me, and then I come home looking at you, when you have the ability to do it, you just choose not to do it. And so maybe it means stepping up in that arena. One of the emotional needs in the book, His Needs, Her Needs by Willard Hartley, they were talking about the 10 emotional needs to sustain a relationship. One of those 10 is the need for an attractive spouse. And some people think it's shallow, and some people think it's surface, and it shouldn't care, and it shouldn't mean anything. And that is just not true, and it's ridiculous. We love beautiful things, right? We love beautiful cars and beautiful homes and beautiful vacations and beautiful remote destinations and beautiful scenery and beautiful babies. Like, we love beauty. That's why people go to museums and art galleries. What? To observe the beauty, the creativity, the arts. And so you have the ability of taking your appearance, your physical expression of yourself, to the next level. And you should do everything in your power to maintain it. But beyond the physicality of your attractiveness, sometimes it's your personality. See, because if your personality is ugly, it makes you unattractive. And so having a pleasant personality, being lighthearted, being jovial, knowing how to connect, not being so defensive, your personality can become infectious. It can become magnetic. It was the thing that drew your partner in. But somehow you went from having this amazing personality to now being mean and surly. And you always have a grim look, and you're mad, and you're mean, and you're short, and you have a temper, and it's ugly. And so because of this, it drew me away. It caused me to reevaluate things. And so insufficient, let me tell you, physical touch, insufficient physical attraction in the relationship can cause a vulnerability. And it may cause you to now have an eye for someone else. I wrote a book some time ago, phenomenal book. If you haven't gotten it, go on Amazon and get it. It's called Pimpin' from the Pulpit to the Pews, Exposing and Expelling the Spirit of Lust in the Church. And there's a chapter in that book, and it's called Overcoming the Lust of the Eye. And we talk about all of the characters in the Bible whose sin first started with a look. We talk about Eve and how she looked upon that apple. And because she looked upon it, she then consumed it. We talk about Potiphar's wife, how she cast her eyes on Joseph. To cast your eyes on someone means to select them with your eyes. I'm selecting you. I got my eye on you. We talk about David, King David, when he sent his men off to war, and he was walking on the roof of his palace, and he saw a beautiful woman taking a shower at a distance and called for her. We talk about Samson with all this strength. The scriptures quoted by him saying, I saw a woman in Timnath, right? That woman happened to be Delilah. So there's so many scriptures, there's so many examples of how people's downfall has happened because of a look. See, Job in the Bible understood this. Remember Job, who lost it all, and God blessed him and gave it back to him in double portion? Job understood that he needed to establish a covenant with his eyes, not to look upon another woman. And so he said to God, God, I want to establish a covenant with my eyes. And if I look upon another woman, if I desire another woman, take my wife from me and put her in another man's arms. Take my children and give them to another family. Take my possessions and give them away. Take everything from me. That was how serious he was, how dedicated he was, how disciplined he was to keeping his eyes on his prize, his spouse. But his spouse had to remain a prize worthy of being locked in on. And so let me tell you something. In this society today where we're competing with images, especially on Instagram and all types of social media, and all of these women and all of these men who are scantily clad, showing their body parts, showing the external aspect of who they are, because they're using that to win people over, and they're winning at it. As a spouse, we have a responsibility to do our best to be our best. Man, I hope this is helping. You're watching the Couples Academy show. What we want to do is go to a quick break, and we'll come right back and get more into why I cheated on you. Stay right there. Hey guys, you're watching the Couples Academy show. Now, if you're tuning in for the first time, you are pissed, you are triggered, you are upset because you looked at the title of this episode and it says, I cheated because of you. And now it seems like I'm victimizing the victim. right? It seems like I'm putting all the responsibility on the person who was cheated on. Now, if you listen to this in context, you know that it's a part of a larger series entitled Why We Cheat. And we talk about the personal factors, we talk about the relational factors, and now we're talking about the contribution that the spouse made to my decision to do what I did. So look at the entire series before you make an accusation, and really allow it to bless and minister to your life to begin to turn things around. All right, we're talking about what you did that caused me to do what I did. Now, the next one was the fact that in this relationship, there has been a significant lack of respect. You don't respect me. The way you talk to me like I'm a dog in the streets. The way that you treat me like you have vitriol and venom in your heart for me. You treat me like I'm an enemy, like I've done something wrong, like you treat, like your level of treatment towards me is so disrespectful that even my family and friends are like, what are you doing? Why are you putting up with it? How could you withstand this? I'm embarrassed because of the way that you treat me in public. But what's even more humiliating is how you treat me in private. And throughout the course of this marriage, I've constantly felt disrespected. I have felt like your foot has been on my neck. You haven't valued me. You haven't esteemed me. You haven't affirmed me. You haven't given me quality time and affection. It's almost like somehow once you said I do, you became a monster and turned on me. I don't even know who you are. You're like an alien to me right now. And because of this major disconnect, it has hurt me so much so I have built up a wall. I am so frustrated. My heart is numb. My heart is hardened because of how you treated me. And I've lost all hope in what is possible for us to experience in this relationship. And my need to feel respected by someone, my need to hear something that I'm doing that's good, some form of admiration, some form of compliment. When I hear from other people, oh my God, I don't even know how to react. I'm like putting in their hands because I can't believe that someone on this planet sees me in a positive way, because all I get from you is nothing but negativity. So yeah, I cheated. I was desperate and lonely for something more, for something better. And I did not make the right decision, and it impacted our future. Hopefully we can turn things around, but that is where I was based upon what you put me through. Can you acknowledge that? Can you be honest with yourself that that is how you've shown up in this relationship? Because if you can be honest about it, we can do something about it. But if you don't even acknowledge what is true, then it's hard to move forward. So please learn to respect me. RESPECT. Find out what it means to me. Because if you can find out what it means to me and you can act accordingly, now we have something to work with. Oh, it's getting deep here. Let's go to the next. Listen, this whole idea of equal distribution in the household when it comes to the domestic affairs is what I thought I was signing up for when I married you. But somehow there's been an unbalanced contribution of efforts in this relationship. And guess what? This is happening because we don't have the same value system. We don't have the same expectations. I thought we came in with an understanding of how we would show up as partners in this thing called marriage. Now remember, we're in a relationship and we're companions with each other. And it seems like the only thing that you focus on is sex and having good times and being connected. And that's cool. That's great. We should have that. That speaks to our ability to connect as companions in this relationship, but we're also partners in this thing called marriage. And I'm pulling my weight and I need you to pull yours. And there has not been an equal distribution of effort in this relationship. There hasn't been a proper delegation of responsibilities of what needs to be done to maintain our lifestyle. And I feel overwhelmed. I feel taken advantage of. I feel taken for granted. I feel the only thing that I'm good for is a check and my ability to cook and clean and to give you my body. But how do you show up for me? What am I getting out of this? I feel like I've taken on the burdens of this marriage while you experience the blessings of this marriage. I just want to be appreciated. I just want to be reciprocated. And because I haven't been able to find that in you, out of desperation, out of loneliness, out of all of the challenges that I'm going through, I found it I found it in someone else. I want to turn this thing around, but I need you to admit that you haven't shown up in this relationship, in this marriage, the way that you should have. And it caused me to do something that I regret, but that was the reason. Yeah, it triggered some personal factors that I didn't know how to properly manage. I didn't know how to deal with the pressure, and it led me down that path. But I'm not done, because there's more. It wasn't just that. You know what the other issue was? My love language. My love language was not expressed in this relationship. Now, I know we have different love languages, and we've talked about this before. There's words of affirmation, there's quality time, there's acts of service, there's giving of gifts, right? And there's physical touch. I've been telling you from day one, I need to be affirmed. I need words. But you don't compliment me. You don't affirm me. You don't acknowledge me. You don't validate me. You don't give me anything. You don't mind touching me. You don't mind grabbing me. You don't mind getting your needs met. That's your love language. And you love me the way you want to be loved. And you think touching me is loving me? That's loving you. That's what you want. That's what you need. I need words from you, and I'm starving. When was the last time that you complimented me? When was the last time that you said that my meal was good? Well, you scarfed it down, got it from the table, and went about your business. I know it tasted good, but you didn't even acknowledge. When was the last time that you said, babe, I appreciate the fact that you fixed that you put that up, that you cleaned that. I appreciate that. I appreciate the hard work. I appreciate the effort. I appreciate you. When is the last time that you spoke life into me? All you do is criticize, condemn, complain. All you do is talk nasty and rude and talk about what I'm not and what I need to be. All I hear is judgment and criticism from you. And it's taken everything out of me. And I'm starving and desperate for validation. Maybe it's not words for you. Maybe it's gifts. I mean, do you see what I do for you? I don't wait for holidays to buy you things. I know that's my love language. I love you the way that I want to be loved, which is not right. But I'm trying to show you how to teach me, how to treat me, how to love me. I can't remember the last time you even gave me a gift. I can't remember the last time you remembered my birthday, our anniversary. And then under the last minute, when you realize, oh my God, today's the day, you try to throw something together and it just doesn't work out. And I could see that you didn't put time, attention, and care into it. I'm simple. I'm not asking for much. I don't care about name brands. I don't care about the fact that you don't have the money. It doesn't have to cost hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars. It's not about how much you spend on it. It's not about the name brand. It's about what the gift represents. It represents that you were thinking about me, that you care about me. You're loving me by presenting me with a token of appreciation that's near and dear to me. I'm not materialistic, but you knew my love language was gifts. When we got married, you gave me a gift. It was a ring. It represented our eternal love. So if that's how we initiated this relationship, I told you I have a need for that. It makes me feel loved. It fills my heart. It fills my tank. But you don't value it. But Ricky on the job, he knows my favorite drink. He knows my favorite Starbucks drink, and he brings it to me. Yeah. I shouldn't have taken it. But the fact that he even, I never told him, but somehow he knew, because he pays attention. I've been asking you to pay attention to me. I've been asking you to give me your time. I've been asking you to give me your ear. I've been asking you to give me your heart. I've been asking you to give me your eyes, and you don't. You turn a deaf ear to me, and you get caught up in the things that you're caught up in. I've been telling you, I love the way you serve me. I love the way you help me. I love it when I have a project, I can tap into your brilliance, but you got so busy with your clients and with your girlfriends and with everything you had going on. I felt abandoned and rejected. I felt like you didn't care for me. And so you are here as a spouse to help meet my legitimate needs. And I felt like my needs were not being met. And it drove me to a place that I did not want to go, but that's where I find myself. But we had this conversation countless times. How many times? How many work days did we have? How many drawn out conversations did we have? How many conversations till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning? No, we had to get up at 6 to go to work the next day. Did we have? How many promises have you made? How many times have you said you're going to get it together? How many times have you said, fine, I will do it this time, but you still don't perform? Just be honest with yourself. Can we have this conversation? One of the other problems is your chronic negativity. I never knew I was this bad until I met you. I didn't know how much I lacked until you came into my world. I didn't know how inadequate I was until you showed up on my front door. Everything with you is negative. There's a criticism for everything. There's a judgment for everything. You don't affirm, you don't validate, you don't even speak life into. You don't even look at the potential of who I am and what I could be. All you do is speak to the weeds that surround me, and everything you speak to grows. Rather than speaking to the seed within me so that it could produce a harvest of change and transformation, you speak to the weeds. Everything with you is negative. And I am allergic to negativity. All you do is complain. All you do is bicker and nag. And I cannot take it. It sucks the life out of me. There's a phenomenal book called Emotional Vampires. And it talks about how people will literally suck your energy and suck your life force from your body with their negativity. And I've been living in a marriage like this for so many years. I am allergic to you. Or to at least how you've been treating me. And it drove me away. But in addition to that, no matter what I say, I just don't feel like I'm being heard. I feel like you don't care. I feel like every time I bring something up, it's a problem for you. That I should just be happy, and I should just be in my place, and I should just go along to get along. That I should be okay with the fact that none of my needs are being met. I feel unheard. And it puts me in a desperate situation. Will you be honest about that? Will you admit that? Is there any truth to that? Is there any validity to what I'm saying? Listen, at the end of the day, I've supported you throughout this marriage. Every dream you've had, every goal you've had, everything that you wanted to do. When we didn't have the money to do it, when I didn't even believe it was possible, I still affirmed you. I still cheered you on. I became your cheerleader. I became your all in all. Listen, I was with you till 3 o'clock in the morning every night, helping you with it, working on with you with it. But anytime I came to you about something that had anything to do with me, you weren't interested. You tried to convince me that now's not the right time. Maybe this is not the right season. We don't have the resources or the finances. Why don't you work on that later? I'm still working on my thing. And this has been a one-way transactional relationship where I pour into you and you don't reciprocate back to me. It is parasitical. And I'm sick and tired of it. And I just can't. And it's driven me away. And the fact that somebody took interest in me, asked me questions about me, encouraged the dreams that I had, told me all that I could be and all that I could do and all that I could experience. It gave me life. I didn't know what to do with that. I got sucked in. I was drawn in because I was starving. And a crumb felt like a gourmet meal. That's how starving and depleted I've been. Can you admit that you contributed to where our relationship declined to? Can you be honest with yourself? Can we have this conversation? Because if you can admit it, now we have something to work with. Listen, I hope you got something out of this show. I want you to replay this with your spouse. And don't say a word. Just look over at them every now and then look straight ahead, because I'm talking to your spouse. But guess what? Maybe you are the one that I'm talking to. Maybe you need to be convicted with this message. It's not too late. We all make mistakes, errors in judgment. When we're operating in our lowest selves, we do things that are destructive and diabolical, but it doesn't mean that the relationship has to be over. It doesn't mean that it's destroyed forever. You can turn this thing around. All you have to simply do is pick up that phone and reach out to us. Set up a discovery call, and let's figure out how we can work together to turn your situation around. You're watching the Couples Academy show. See you in the morning.